Hi there. It's September the 12th, and we're continuing our journey through the prophecies of Isaiah. We're in chapters 10 and 11 today. We see that the context of Isaiah's prophecies in this part of the scriptures are concerning the threat of Assyria, the big northern empire, against Israel and Syria in the north, to the north of Judah. And Isaiah is speaking to the king of Judah, Ahaz, and he's promising that the threat from Israel and Syria will be removed by Assyria in the north coming down and taking out Israel and Syria as a threat. Now, there's an oracle here that Isaiah brings, which is basically saying that part of the reason God is going to judge Israel and Syria through Assyria is because of the iniquity, because of the lack of justice, because of the oppression of the poor that's been going on in those nations. Also, there's idolatry implicated here, not only idolatry in Israel and Syria, but also even in Judah and Jerusalem there is idolatry going on. And so Assyria is going to be allowed to come and to cleanse and to purge and to remove Israel and Syria from the scene, and to prune and to attack Judah and Jerusalem, but will not be able to overwhelm them. Now it's clear from this chapter, from chapter 10, that Isaiah sees the nations as being very much in the hand of God, that we have a God who is steering history. And so Assyria is seen as the instrument of God in his judgment, like an axe in the hand of an axeman, an instrument in the hand of a worker. So Assyria is seen at this time is seen as the instrument of God's judgment against Israel and Syria, and also the instrument of God's purging and pruning of Judah. But it says at the end of the chapter that even though this pruning happens and this purging happens, there will be a remnant left. Now, the remnant is a very important concept in Isaiah. In fact, he calls his son Shar Yashuv. It literally means a remnant will return. And so this is so much a part of his word and his prophecy that he's actually given one of his children the name Shar Yashuv, a remnant will return. And at the end of chapter 10, there is this promise that although there's going to be this deluge of Assyrian power and Assyrian violence coming against Israel and Syria, and even impinging on Judah and Jerusalem, a remnant will return. There will be those who come back. Not only will the remnant return, but in chapter 11 it goes on to say that there will be a new king, and this king is going to be astounding in his power, astounding in his justice. He's not going to rule with his own power, he's going to rule from the power of God. This king is going to be in the Davidic line, so he is a shoot of Jesse, and obviously that refers to King David, who was the son of Jesse. Not only that, but there's going to be established a root of Jesse some verses later on. So he's a shoot, he's an offspring, but also he's a root. There's something that goes even deeper than the human story here, that goes into the divine story of God's justice that comes through David's line. Now, of course, we connect this story with the Son of David, Jesus, Yeshua, our Messiah. He is the one who will reign by the Spirit of God. He will not judge by what his eyes see, but he will reign by the Spirit in equity. And not only that, but will bring in a reign of such peace that the created order will be adjusted, so that the violence in the animal kingdom, the lion will lie down with the lamb. The child will play on the viper's den, and all of these famous words that we hear year by year, usually at Christmas time. This promise of the Messianic era that is coming through the anointed one, that is the Mashiach in Hebrew, the one who is anointed by the Holy Spirit to bring peace. And the aim of this is not just for Israel and Judah, but also for the whole world, because the nations will come to this messianic figure, this messianic king. The nations will come, and the purpose that God has, that's clearly stated in the midst of this chapter, is that the knowledge of the Lord will cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. Now, that word knowledge is very important here. It's the Hebrew word da'at, and da'at doesn't just mean head knowledge. It doesn't mean a bunch of facts that you learn about something and put in a book and put on a shelf. Da'at in Hebrew is experiential knowledge. It's knowledge that is known and then experienced. experienced. It's from the same word, from the word yada, which is used of Adam and Eve in the story in Genesis. When Adam had sex with Eve, he experienced her at the closest level. And this is talking about the experience of the Lord will cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. Elsewhere it says in another prophet that the glory of the Lord will cover the earth. But here the word in chapter 11 of Isaiah is the knowledge, the experiential knowledge, the experience of God. And people are not just going to have a head knowledge, they're not just going to be distant knowing about this God who's far away, but in this Messianic King, in the establishment of his kingdom and his reign, there will be a real experience of God. And then at the end, towards the end of chapter 11, there's a rehearsal again of the remnant coming back. There's the promise of this remnant, except this will be a further return. This will be a second return. This will be like a new Exodus, because at the end of chapter 11, Isaiah refers to Egypt's waters being dried up and the people being able to cross over. This is a new Exodus that is coming, and it will come at the time of this great Messianic arrival. Now, it's easy for us to see as we look forward, as we stand this side of the cross, as we look forward from Isaiah's time to the time of the coming of Jesus, to see how this is fulfilled in Jesus the Messiah. And we today are living in the outflow, in the overflow of that beauty, of that glory, of that experiential knowledge. We have seen his glory. We've experienced the glory of God in the Son, and that is being spread through the earth as the waters cover the sea by his Holy Spirit. So today, let's be bold and let's go, and let's be those who carry the knowledge, the experience of God wherever we go, so that we are seeing the knowledge of the Lord cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. Have a very good September the 12th.